Is pretty clear that she was in communication with an individual. That individual appears to meet her very shortly after she leaves her place of work, and very shortly after that, she disappears off of the footprint.
A 21-year-old man has been arrested and charged with kidnapping 23-year-old Kada Scott. But here's the terrifying part. Kada is still missing, and police just found her belongings at an abandoned school, her phone case, her personal items, evidence that she was there, but no Kada. This case just took a dark turn, because the man they arrested, Keon King, has a history. Earlier this year, he allegedly kidnapped another woman, threw her in his car, assaulted her, and let her go. That case was dropped when the witness didn't show up to court. And now, months later, another woman is missing, and Keon King is the last person she was with. Saturday night, October 4th, 2025, 9:45 p.m., Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 23-year-old Kada Scott kissed her mother goodbye and left for her overnight shift at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill, an assisted living facility where she worked. Her mother, Mathias, watched her walk out the door. She had no idea that would be the last time she'd ever see her daughter. Kada arrived at work. She parked her car in the parking lot. She clocked in, but 20 minutes later she left. She walked out of that facility without her car, without finishing her shift, and she's never been seen again. Her phone went dead. Her social media went silent. And now, almost 2 weeks later, police are treating this as a kidnapping and possibly worse. Before we go any further, if you're finding this case as shocking as I am, please hit that like button, comment below with your thoughts, and subscribe, because this story is developing fast and you don't want to miss updates. Now let's get into what we know. Kada Scott was 23 years old. She was a Penn State graduate. She was ambitious, creative, involved in modeling and beauty pageants. She even ran her own beauty facial spa business. She had dreams, goals, a whole life ahead of her. She lived with her parents in the Mount Airy section of Philadelphia, and according to everyone who knew her, she was responsible, reliable, the kind of person who stayed in touch with her family. On Friday night going into Saturday, October 4th, Kada was getting ready for work. She had an overnight shift from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill. It was a job she'd recently started while building her business. She said goodbye to her mom around 9:45 p.m. and headed out. Kada drove to work. She arrived. She parked her car. She went inside, but something happened. Something that made her leave just 20 minutes after arriving. According to police, Kada left the Terrace at Chestnut Hill around 10:05 p.m. She didn't drive away in her car. She left on foot or got into someone else's vehicle, and from that moment, Kada Scott disappeared. When Kada didn't come home the next morning, her parents knew something was wrong. This wasn't like Kada. She always came home. She always answered her phone. She was always active on social media. But now, nothing. Her phone was off. Her Instagram was silent. No posts, no messages, no activity. For a 23-year-old in 2025, that's a massive red flag. Kada's parents reported her missing to Philadelphia police on Sunday, October 5th. Investigators immediately responded. They went to the Terrace at Chestnut Hill. They found Kada's car still parked in the lot. Keys gone, phone gone, Kada gone. And here's what made this even more concerning. The facility didn't have surveillance cameras. There was no footage of Kada leaving, no video of who she might have left with, nothing. Police started digging into Kada's life, and what they discovered was chilling. In the days before she disappeared,
Go away,
Kada
bitch.
had told
Don't
her
come over
family
here.
and friends that she was being
Call the
harassed,
cops.
that unknown individuals were calling her phone, threatening her, scaring
Call
her.
It's all these kids in here. Call the cops, you dumb bitch. He coming around the window. Go that way, Cameron. Yeah, bitch, go away, bye. Go away, bye. Yep, bye. Bye. Keon out here.
Police Captain John Krug held a press conference on Wednesday, October 9th. Days prior to her disappearance, Miss Scott related to family and friends that unknown individuals or person had been harassing her via phone. We are investigating that. We're trying to learn more. Who was calling Kada? What were they saying? Was it one person or multiple people? Kada's mother told reporters that Kada mentioned the harassing calls but didn't give any names. She didn't say who it was. Maybe she didn't know, or maybe she was scared to say. Police immediately started tracking those phone calls, tracing numbers, pulling records, and one name kept coming up: Keon King, a 21-year-old man from Southwest Philadelphia. And the more investigators dug into Keon King, the more disturbing this case became. On Friday, October 11th, 1 week after Kada disappeared, Philadelphia police conducted a massive search at Abara Arboretum, a 55-acre wooded area in Germantown, about 3 miles from where Kada was last seen. They brought in K9 units, cadaver dogs, electronics tracing dogs, hundreds of police cadets lined up for a grid search, drones, crime scene units, forensic experts. They combed through that entire area. Deputy Commissioner Frank Venner told reporters, "We certainly see some signs that this person isn't voluntarily missing." Translation: police believed something bad had happened to Kada. They just didn't know what yet. The search at Abara Arboretum turned up nothing significant, some clothing items that may or may not have been related to the case, but no Kada, no major evidence. The family was devastated. "We would think that there would have been more information and more progress," a relative told reporters. You could hear the frustration in their voices, the desperation. Kada's father, Kada Scott, spoke to the media, his voice breaking. "She's my oldest daughter. I love her. These last few days have been crazy, head spinning, trying to figure out what's going on. I just want her back. It's my daughter. We're all concerned. It's going on a week. Just want her back as soon as possible, make sure she's safe, want her back home." Meanwhile, police were closing in on Keon King. They had digital evidence, phone records, video footage, and it all pointed to one conclusion. Kada was in communication with Keon King on the night she disappeared, and she met up with him shortly after leaving work. And then she vanished. Tuesday night, October 14th, Keon King turned himself in to Philadelphia police. He was arrested and charged with kidnapping in connection with Kada Scott's disappearance, but Kada was still missing, and police had no idea where she was. Wednesday morning, October 15th, police held a press conference. They announced King's arrest. They revealed that he had a pattern of this type of behavior. Earlier in 2025, Keon King had allegedly kidnapped another woman. He grabbed her in front of her house, threw her in his car, assaulted her, strangled her, and eventually let her go. That woman filed charges, but when she failed to show up to court, the case was dismissed. Now, months later, another young woman was missing. And Keon King was the last person who had contact with her. Assistant District Attorney Ashley Toxilowski told reporters, "All roads at this point lead to Mr. King." She explained that evidence showed Kada was in communication with an individual identified as King, and she appeared to meet with him very shortly after. She left work on October 4th. Mr. King is the last person we believe to be in contact with her when she went offline. Police released a photo of King's vehicle, a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry with Pennsylvania license plate MSX0797. The car had front-end damage on the left bumper, and investigators believed Kada might have been inside that car at some point. Within hours of releasing that information, tips started pouring in. People had seen that car all over Philadelphia, in Mount Airy, in Center City, in Gray's Ferry, in Southwest Philadelphia. That car had been everywhere, and somewhere along the way, Kada Scott had been inside it. Wednesday afternoon, around 3:10 p.m., police received another tip. Someone had spotted King's Toyota Camry in the parking lot of the Gypsy Lane condominiums in East Falls. Police rushed to the scene, and there it was, the gold Camry, heavily tinted windows, front-end damage, just sitting there. Sources told reporters that King's family lived near that location, that the car belonged to King, that it had been parked there for at least 5 days. One resident, Amy Clayton, said her neighbor had called in the tip after noticing the suspicious vehicle. At the end of the day, hoping that poor beautiful girl is okay, somehow, she said. Police towed the vehicle to a police garage facility. They were waiting for a search warrant before they could search inside. Because of those heavily tinted windows, they couldn't see what was inside. And that terrified everyone. Was Kada in that car? Was there evidence in that car? What were they about to find? But the tips didn't stop there. Shortly after the press conference on Wednesday morning, police received another call. Someone had found something at Ada H. Lewis Middle School, an abandoned school on the 6100 block of Ardley Street in East Germantown. The school is about 2 miles from Aubrey Arboretum, where police had searched days earlier. Police rushed to the abandoned school, and what they found made everyone's worst fears seem more real. They found Kada's belongings, her phone case, at least 2 pieces of her personal property, physical evidence that tied Kada to that location. Sergeant Eric Grip told reporters, "This is some of the most concrete physical evidence that we have found since Miss Scott has gone missing." But they didn't find Kada. They found her things, but not her, which raised the terrifying question: what happened to Kada at that abandoned school? Was she hurt there? Was she killed there? Was her body somewhere nearby? Police searched the entire property. They didn't find her. By Wednesday evening, the homicide unit had taken over the investigation. The FBI was now involved. This was no longer just a missing persons case. This was being treated as something far worse, though police were careful to say they were still treating this as if Ms. Scott is still alive. First Deputy Commissioner John Stanford addressed the media. "The number one priority is locating Ms. Scott. We need to find Ms. Scott, figure out where she is, what may have happened to her to cause her to completely disappear from all her items, her phone, her Instagram, social media sites, and everywhere else." He also made a direct appeal to the public. Anyone that may have been involved with this individual or anyone that may know this individual, please at this point in time make that phone call. If you have been a victim of any crime regarding this individual, we want you to understand that now is the time to make that phone call and let us know. Because here's what made this case even more terrifying. Keon King had a history, and there might be other victims, other women he'd harassed, other women he'd hurt, other women who were too scared to come forward. Police were asking those women to speak up now because their information could help find Kada. What is the relationship between Kada Scott and Keon King? Police are still trying to figure that out. They don't know how long they knew each other. They don't know if they were dating, if they were friends, if Kada even knew him well, or if this was something more sinister. What they do know is that Kada was communicating with King before she left work, that she met up with him shortly after, and then she disappeared. Did Kada know she was in danger? Is that why she only stayed at work for 20 minutes? Did King call her and convince her to leave? Did he threaten her? Did he lure her out with a lie? Or did Kada willingly meet up with him, not knowing what he was capable of? These are questions investigators are still trying to answer. And Keon King isn't talking. Police wouldn't comment on whether he's cooperating with the investigation. But given that he lawyered up immediately and has a history of violence against women, it's unlikely he's offering any help. Kada's family is living a nightmare. Her father Kevin spoke to reporters again this week. "You never know what little, small, minuscule information may apply to the big picture, the puzzle that might get Kada home. So whatever you think may help, call and report it to the police department." The family has set up a GoFundMe. They're raising money for a reward fund. They're hoping that financial incentive will bring someone forward, someone who knows where Kada is, someone who saw something, someone who can bring their daughter home. The community has rallied around the Scott family. Volunteers have been searching neighborhoods. People have been putting up flyers. Social media has exploded with Kada's face. Everyone is asking the same question: where is Kada Scott? As of right now, Kada Scott has been missing for almost 2 weeks. Keon King is in custody, charged with kidnapping. He's also been charged with recklessly endangering another person and use of a communication facility. And prosecutors have refiled charges from the earlier kidnapping case, the one where the witness didn't show up. Keon King has a criminal history. He has an open DUI case from December 2024 in Delaware County. He's been charged with fleeing from police during a traffic stop in March 2025, fleeing from police on foot in June 2025, and driving without a license on October 2, 2025, just 2 days before Kada disappeared. This is someone who clearly has no respect for the law, no respect for authority. And based on the allegations, no respect for women. The DA's office is taking this case very seriously. Ashley Toxilowski said during the press conference, "We are still treating this as if Ms. Scott is still alive. And that's why we want the public's help in trying to locate every single piece of this." But let's be real, it's been almost 2 weeks. Kada's phone has been dead since the night she disappeared. Her social media has been silent. Her belongings were found at an abandoned school. The man accused of kidnapping her has a history of violence, and police are treating this as a possible homicide. The chances of Kada being found alive are getting slimmer by the day. But her family refuses to give up hope. They're still searching, still putting up flyers, still begging for information. Because until they find Kada, dead or alive, they can't have closure, they can't grieve, they can't move forward. They're stuck in this horrible limbo, not knowing if their daughter is suffering somewhere, if she's being held captive, if she's already gone. Kada Scott was 23 years old. She was a Penn State graduate with dreams of building her own business empire. She was creative, ambitious, beautiful. She had her whole life ahead of her. And one night, she made the decision to meet up with someone, and that decision may have cost her everything. If you're watching this, if you live in Philadelphia, if you were anywhere near Mount Airy, Center City, Grays Ferry, Southwest Philadelphia, East Falls, or Germantown between October 4th and October 15th, and you saw that gold Toyota Camry, please call police. If you know Keon King, if you've ever been victimized by him, if you have any information about what happened to Kada, please come forward. The tip line is 215-686 tips. You can remain anonymous, and the family has set up a reward fund for credible information that leads to finding Kada. This case is active, this investigation is ongoing, and somewhere out there, someone knows where Kada Scott is, someone knows what happened to her, someone has the piece of the puzzle that will bring her home. Kada, if somehow you're alive, if you're able to see this, please know that your family is fighting for you. The police are searching for you. The community hasn't given up on you. We're all hoping for a miracle. We're all praying you come home safe. Rest in hope, Kada Scott. Your family loves you, your friends miss you, and we're all waiting for answers. Stay vigilant out there. Check on your loved ones. And if someone is harassing you, if someone is making you uncomfortable, if someone is giving you bad vibes, trust your instincts. Tell someone, report it, because Kada told people she was being harassed, and now she's gone. Don't let that be your story too.